Good evening everyone, and contender number 2 is ready with contender 1 there, the ZT99AM, to enter the Great Malagasy 1 in 72nd tank off. And here is one of the main competitors globally, the T90 MS, or in this case the T90 Pirov. Now this Zvezda kit is a very nice kit, but I've noticed something here, and I've just added this today. The T90M and Pirovs have this mesh which runs along the armour there, and they use a lot of space armour and Relic 5 armour. And if you notice on my tanks, you'll find this mesh is also present, and this is the Kinetic Q, called Kinetic Q mesh. So the Russians have copied it as well, or developed their own, and it basically is designed to stop RPGs coming in and going in between that gap in the armour. Now I haven't quite done that on mine yet, but it is an option that I can do. And this is the Leopard 2A7, but you probably won't recognise it as a Leopard. It looks very different. It looks more like a Korean K2 and a Leopard combined. We have extra spaced armour here, spaced armour along the sides and along the turret. Got the remote weapons station as far forward as possible, hard kill APS, more armour along here, hard kill APS radars, a sort of cope cage with a difference for top attack protection, and then only really at the rear do you notice it's a Leopard, but it's got that anti-RPG armour screens. Now it is heavily protected compared to the standard Leopard. Be adding an extra 5 tons of weight, probably they've guesstimated, onto this tank. But it retains the Leopard's 2A7 superb 120mm main gun and the superb hunter killer system. There it is. Now the armour layout is very similar to something that Israel would have developed, or to really what the Pirov, the T90 Pirov 3 has, which is this spaced armour, and you can see it on the side of the turret there. Now from what I can tell, building this Zvezda one seems to be pretty accurate. It is spaced armour along the side, and the main threat to tanks appears to be heat warheads. Now the Pirov, and I got this wrong earlier, the Pirov does have its propellant for the main gun ammunition in the bustle here to try and prevent the turrets popping off, as they are claimed to do. And that really on the T72s and the early T90s is due to the carousel autoloader. Now I kind of got it wrong earlier, and I thought that the Leopard held all of its ammunition in the bustle. It doesn't. It only holds part of its ammunition in the bustle. The rest of the ammunition is held in the hull down here. I never like hull ammunition stowage, but with this much extra armour and the belly plate, hopefully it has a chance of survival. But that does level the playing field to the ZT99AM, which also has its ammunition in a carousel autoloader. The Leclerc is also similar. It's got some ammunition in a bustle and some ammunition in the hull. Now interestingly, on the Leclerc urban models, they actually only carry 22 rounds, which isn't a lot, but that reduces the vulnerability of the vehicle. So it's pros and cons really, and the Leclerc XLR does away with that hull stowage completely. So it's pros and cons really, in you either carry more ammunition or you carry less, and your tank is more survivable. So we know that the Pirovs are doing some damage in Ukraine, and I've not yet decided whether I'm going to allow the Pirovs to enter the competition. The other thing that's really interesting to note is this Leopard is probably the largest Leopard in creation at the moment. You can barely see the Leopard 2A7 underneath because of the top attack armour I've added here using plasticard. The ZT99AM retains more of the tank's original looks, but this gains with this spaced top attack armour all over it, and more than the Danish and the Swedish ones combined. Now this is the actual Meng model kit. And if we put what the Leopard 2A7 should look like behind it, you'll see that there's a massive difference in the armour level. The Leopard 2A7 has the incredible main gun, which is the extra long 120mm main gun. But you can see really from this point backwards, it's incredibly vulnerable. The armour is the same armour that would be on the 2A5 here and along here. Now, yes, it may have some extra spall liners, electronic turret drive to reduce fires, but it's really the same armour configuration. The 2A7 Pro, which I've done a different video, covers more of the side to here. But the Malagasy competition wants to take it to the next level. And that's why on the Malagasy modified one, the armour runs a lot further towards the rear of the vehicle to protect from IEDs and EFPs. The armour is angled on the turret side. It's spaced carbon Kevlar composite secret material, plasticard. And you've got these RPG screens at the rear to protect it. So it's a very well protected tank, especially the APS. Now the APS is more vulnerable on the tanks that I'm modelling than on the Israeli Merkava Mark IVs. But if you look at the Korean K2, which is one of the world's best tanks, you'll find that the APS is also quite vulnerable on there. So again, it's a trade-off. You know, a 30mm cannon is going to do some damage to the radars, but it shouldn't penetrate the frontal armour, and it may damage the RWS or even take it out. But your tank itself will survive. Modern tanks are designed more to face less to face the kinetic energy threats, and more to face the threats of the heat warheads and the EFP warheads, the anti-tank guided missile systems, and they seem to be the ones doing the biggest damage along with artillery. Now, artillery could be very deadly in knocking out the APS systems, so you need to still use tanks carefully. A Pirov as well, you're still going to have that problem where artillery is going to take out some of these sensors. But overall, the Pirov is a very small tank. It's in a completely different weight classification. But even the ZT Z99AM is a great deal bigger than the Pirov. I hope you've liked this video. This is Contender number 2. Let me know what you think about Contender 1 and 2. The polls are open on the community channel page. I haven't weathered these because these are meant to be brand new delivered items. GPMG added here for the loader. Of course, the Leopard has 4 crew and the ZTZ has 3, along with the T90 Pirov. Different ways of doing the same thing. Let me know what you think. Ta-ra.